all members will please come to the floor, all members. All members, please come to the floor. All members, please come to the floor. The hour for convening having arrived. All members will please come to the floor and take their seats. Mr. Clerk, will you ring the bell? We're going to have the morning roll call. All members present will please vote green to signify their presence in the chamber. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machines? Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machines? Doorkeepers, will you please close the doors and keep them closed? As is our custom, we will begin our day with scripture reading and prayer by the chaplain, after which we will pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. Now, our chaplain this morning is coming to us from down in South Georgia. He will be introduced by the lady from the 169th House District, Representative Angie Osteen. Representative Osteen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, colleagues, my new colleagues, and guests in the galley. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Pastor Don Hadaway. He serves at First Baptist Church in Douglas and has been there since 2019. He previously served at Tabernacle Baptist Church in Cartersville for 17 years. He also pastored Emmanuel Baptist Church in Blackshear, Georgia for 9 years. He holds degrees from Bruton Parker, New Orleans Baptist Theological Seminary, and he is the former president, vice president, and parliamentarian of the Georgia Baptist Convention. He also served as a trustee for Bruton Parker College, Shorter University, and the Christian Index. Recently, Dr. Hadaway published the commentary entitled The Book of Revelation, God's Last Word for the Last Days. In addition to his pastoral responsibilities, he enjoys speaking at revivals, conferences, seminars, and churches throughout the year. He's had the privilege of preaching in England, Greece, Israel, Italy, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He's married to my dear friend Sonia for 30 years. She's not able to be here today. Together they have 2 sons, Nathan, age 27, Daniel, age 26, and Anna Lane, who was called to her heavenly home at age 21 about 2.5 years ago. Please prepare your hearts and minds this morning as your spirits are encouraged and renewed by my pastor and dear friend, Dr. Don Hadaway.
Thank you, Angie. I appreciate that. Mr. Speaker and distinguished members of the House, I am honored to be here with you this morning. Matthew 22, verses 34 through 40, records Jesus' response to a question that was asked by a lawyer. He was a Pharisee, and this lawyer is not what we would typically think of as an attorney. He was, however, an expert in the law, that is Jewish law, and in particular, the Mosaic law, that is the law of Moses. Jesus responded to this question, knowing that this man was trying to test him. And here's the question. Jesus, what is the greatest commandment in the law? So Jesus responded by saying, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the greatest and foremost commandment. The second is like unto it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself." On these two commandments depend the whole law and the prophets. With this statement, Jesus summarized the whole Old Testament law. The purpose of God's law is twofold. First, the commands of God are like a magnifying glass. They give us a close-up view of who God really is. We're able to see His character. We're able to see His holiness. As a matter of fact, Isaiah chapter 55, verses 8 and 9 states, "It is like this, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, nor your ways my ways, declares the Lord. For as the heavens are high above the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts." Second, God's commands are like a mirror. They show us that we are sinners. For example, let me ask you a question. Have you always loved God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength? Let me ask you this. Have you always loved your neighbor as yourself? Neither have I. This is a serious problem because James chapter 2 verse 10 tells us, "For whosoever keeps the whole law and yet stumbles in one point has become guilty of all." This is why Paul said in Romans chapter 3 verse 23, "For all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God." Romans 6:23 also tells us, "For the wages of sin is death." Left to ourselves, we are hopeless. This is bad news. Bad news. But thankfully, I have some good news for you this morning, and that is John 3:16 tells us, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life." Paul added in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 21, He made him who knew no sin to become sin for us, so that we might be the righteousness of God in him. Did you catch that? So that we might become the righteousness of God in him. So there is hope. There is salvation that has been provided. We cannot be made righteous by keeping the law, by keeping the commandments. We're made righteous by faith in Christ. Through his sinless life, his sacrificial death, and his glorious resurrection, we can be forgiven by trusting Christ for salvation. Once we are made righteous, then we are empowered by His Spirit to live righteously. The only way we can love God supremely and love each other as ourselves is to totally surrender to Christ. Hal Davis wrote in 1965 these lyrics: "What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of." Well, I would say to you this morning, what the world needs now is Jesus. And when Jesus is in our hearts, it will be reflected through our lives. Let's pray together. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for all things. Especially we're grateful for Christ, who paid the ultimate sacrifice for us so that we might be saved. Only through him can we genuinely love you and others. Now, Lord, we ask that you grant wisdom to these men and women as they serve the people of the great state of Georgia. We humbly pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Don. We appreciate those words. Doorkeepers, you may open the doors. Members, you can join Brother Don in the South Ante room for a photo and to thank him for his service to us here today. Our doctor of the day today is brought to us by Representative Betsy Holland of the 54th House District. Our doctor is Dr. Erica Gibson. If you need Dr. Gibson, she'll be down in the aid station to take care of any of your needs. Dr. Gibson, thank you for being here and taking care of the members of the House. Chairman Hilton, you're recognized, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits. Chairman Hilton.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Information and Audits has judiciously read the journal of the previous legislative day, and we found it to be correct. Did you catch that?
It's a fast start, but we got to the end. Chairman Hilton, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, reports that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection to dispense with the reading of the journal? The chair hears none. The reading of the journal is dispensed with. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? The chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day?
Representative Session of the 104th moves following be established as the order of business during the first part of the period. Unanimous consent. Introduction of bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of House bills and resolutions. Second reading of bills and resolutions. Morning orders.
Is there any objection to the adoption of the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? Chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. first reading of bills and resolutions, the clerk will read.
House Bill 119 by Representative Byrd of the 20th and Cahan of the 81st. Bill be entitled Act to amend Part 5, Article 4, Chapter 11 of Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to Brady Law regulations.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
House Bill 120 by Representative Byrd of the 20th and Cahan of the 81st. A bill be entitled Act to amend Code Section 1611-173 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to preemption of local regulations.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
House Bill 121 by Representative Byrd of the 20th and Cahan of the 81st. A bill be entitled Act to amend Article 4, Chapter 11 of Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to dangerous instrumentalities and practices.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
House Bill 122 by Representative Byrd of the 20th, Horner of the 3rd, Donahue of the 31st, Clark of the 100th, Cahan of the 81st, and others. Bill be entitled Act to amend Chapter 2, Title 1 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to persons and their rights.
Public and Community Health.
House Bill 123.
Will you suspend just for a moment? I know y'all are excited about the state of the judiciary coming to us pretty soon, so let's hold it down a little bit, tend to your business, but let's give the clerk some attention. Mr. Clerk.
House Bill 123 by Representative Werkheiser of the 157th, Reeves of the 99th, Silcox of the 53rd, Holcomb of the 101st, Smith of the 18th, and others. Bill be titled Act to amend Title 17 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to criminal procedure.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 124 by Representative Scoggins of the 14th, Hawkins of the 27th, Hatchett of the 155th, Clark of the 100th, Newton of the 127th, and others. Bill be titled Act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 24, Title 33, and Article 1 of Chapter 18 and Title 45 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions relative to insurance and state employees' health plans.
Insurance.
House Bill 125 by Representative Cameron of the 1st, Crow of the 118th, Reeves of the 99th, and Gullett of the 19th. Bill be titled Act to amend Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to crimes and offenses.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 126 by Representative Carpenter of the 4th. A bill being entitled Act to amend Title 30 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to alcoholic beverages.
Regulated Industries.
House Bill 127 by Representative Cox of the 28th, Leverett of the 123rd, Rice of the 139th, Barrett of the 24th, and Irwin of the 32nd. Bill be titled Act to amend Part 4 of Article 17 of Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to sick, personal, and maternity leave.
Education.
House Bill 128 by Representative Carpenter of the 4th and Momtahan of the 17th. Bill be titled Act to amend Part 2 of Article 15, Chapter 1 of Title 10 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to Fair Business Practices Act of 1975.
Agriculture and Consumer Affairs.
House Bill 129 by Representative Cannon of the 172nd, Pritchett of the 176th, Dickey of the 134th, Corbett of the 174th, Huddleston of the 72nd, and others. Bill be entitled Act to amend Code Section 48.5, 7.4 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating preferential assessment for bona fide conservation use.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 130 by Representative Jaspers the 11th, Evans the 57th, Powell the 33rd, Wilkerson the 38th, Carpenter the 4th, and others. Bill be entitled Act to amend Part 3 of Article 7 of Chapter 3 of Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to Georgia Student Finance Authority.
Higher Education.
House Bill 131 by Representative Reeves of the 99th, Gunner of the 8th, Leverett of the 123rd, Oliver of the 84th, Holcomb of the 101st, and others. Bill be entitled Act to amend Article 5 of Chapter 4, Title 10 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to self-service storage facilities.
Judiciary.
House Bill 132 by Representative Reeves of the 99th, Oliver of the 84th, Gullett of the 19th, Leverett of the 122nd, Smith of the 18th, and others. Bill be entitled Act to amend Article 3, Chapter 32 of Title 36 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to Council of Municipal Court Judges.
Judiciary.
House Bill 133 by Representative Clark of the 100th, Hilton of the 48th, Burchett of the 176th, Jackson of the 128th, Gamble of the 15th, and others. Bill be titled Act to amend Subpart 2 of Part 1 of Article 16 to Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to compulsory attendance.
Education.
House Bill 134 by Representative Campbell, the 135th, Jaspers to the 11th, Burchett to the 176th, Corbett to the 174th, Williams to the 148th, and others. Bill being titled an act to amend Title 48 of the official code of Georgia Annotated relating to revenue and taxation.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 135 by Representative Schofield, the 63rd, Hughley, the 141st, Bernal, the 77th, Davis, the 87th, Bello, the 75th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 83201 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated, Article 1 of Chapter 1 of Title 20, and the Official Code of Georgia Annotated, Chapter 1 of Title 34 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated, relating to definitions relative to fair housing.
Industry and Labor.
House Bill 136 by Representative Newton of the 127th, Blackman of the 146th, Rhodes of the 124th, Cox of the 28th, Prince of the 132nd, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 7 of Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to income taxes.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 137 by Representative Anderson of the 10th, Lumsden of the 12th, Hawkins of the 27th, Yurt of the 152nd, Leverett of the 123rd, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 10 of Title 13 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to contracts for public works.
Governmental Affairs.
House Bill 138 by Representative Neal, the 79th, Crowe, the 118th, Hitchens, the 161st. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 3587 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to powers and duties of the Georgia Peace Officers Standards and Training Council.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
House Bill 139 by Representative Jones, the 25th, Hawkins, the 27th, Hatchett of the 155th, Cannon of the 172nd, Jackson of the 128th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 6 of Chapter 4, Title 26 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to pharmacies.
Health.
House Resolution 66 by Representative Smith of the 18th and Huddleston of the 72nd. A resolution recognizes Mr. Macy Aubrey McIntyre II and dedicating a bridge in his memory.
Transportation.
House Resolution 67 by Representative Schofield of the 63rd, Stevens of the 164th, Davis of the 87th, Jenner of the 85th, McLeod of the 109th, and others. A resolution supporting Georgia Clean Energy Transition Workforce Development.
Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications.
House Resolution 68 by Representative Glaze, the 67th, Dawson, the 65th, Jackson, the 68th, Willis, the 55th, and Schofield, the 63rd. A resolution supporting the revision of the quality basic education and full-time equivalent funding formulas.
Education.
House Resolution 69 by Representative Barnes of the 86th, Schofield of the 63rd, Clark of the 108th, Huddleston of the 72nd, Cannon of the 58th, and others. A resolution recognizing every third Thursday in April as Biomedical Research Day.
Health.
That completes first readers.
Members, if you'll get just a little closer to the person you're communicating with, you won't have to shout. And we can bring down that level of noise in here just a little bit before we do our second reader. So members, second reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 94 by Representative Lumsden of the 12th, Taylor of the 173rd, Hawkins of the 27th, Cooper of the 45th, Silcox of the 53rd, a bill relating to insurance. House Bill 95 by Representative Park of the 107th, Jackson of the 128th, Griffin of the 149th, Herring of the 145th, Clark of the 108th, and others, a bill relating to income taxes. House Bill 96 by Representative Park of the 107th, Hughley of the 141st, Howe of the 50th, Griffin of the 149th, Clark of the 108th, and others, a bill relating to taxes on tobacco and vaping products. House Bill 97 by Representative Park of the 107th, Griffin of the 149th, Jackson of the 128th, Herring of the 145th, a bill relating to medical assistance. House Bill 98 by Representative Hughley of the 141st, Herring of the 145th, Clark of the 108th, Griffin of the 149th, Jackson of the 128th, and others, a bill relating to income taxes. House Bill 99 by Representative Hughley of the 141st, Bennett of the 94th, Buckner of the 137th, Herring of the 145th, Clark of the 108th, and others, a bill relating to income taxes, House Bill 100, by Representative Douglas of the 78th, Hawkins of the 27th, Owl of the 50th, Prince of the 132nd, Bennett of the 94th, and others, a bill relating to insurance. House Bill 101 by Representative Douglas of the 78th, Hawkins of the 27th, Evans of the 57th, Kelly of the 16th, Prince of the 132nd, and others, a bill relating to state employees' health insurance plan. House Bill 102 by Representative Cooper of the 45th, Newton of the 127th, Silcox of the 53rd, Hawkins of the 27th, Owl of the 50th, a bill relating to the Department of Community Health. House Bill 103 by Representative Smith of the 138th, Huddleston of the 72nd, Buckner of the 137th, a bill to amend an act to provide a homestead exemption from Troup County School District ad valorem taxes. House Bill 104 by Representative Cox of the 28th, Jaspers of the 11th, Barrett of the 24th, Cannon of the 172nd, Irwin of the 32nd, a bill to amend the Quality Basic Education Act. House Bill 105 by Representative Wade of the 9th, Gamble of the 15th, Hong of the 103rd, McDonald of the 26th, Irwin of the 32nd, and others. A bill relating to payment and indemnification for death and disability, generally designation of payment method, procedure for making payments. House Bill 106 by Representative Barnes of the 86th, Westbrook of the 163rd, Alexander of the 66th, McLean of the 109th, Lupton of the 83rd, and others. A bill relating to the Quality Basic Education Act. House Bill 107 by Representative Ballard of the 147th, Bonner of the 73rd, Clark of the 100th, Jones of the 25th, Osteen of the 169th. A bill relating to general provisions of professions and businesses. House Bill 108 by Representative Bonner of the 73rd, Clark of the 100, Prince of the 132nd, Cannon of the 172nd, Hitchens of the 161st, a bill relating to the Fair Business Practices Act of 1975. House Bill 109 by Representative Barnes of the 86th, Oliver of the 84th, Owl of the 50th, Hutchinson of the 106th, Park of the 107th, and others, a bill relating to mental health. House Bill 110 by Representative Bonner of the 73rd, Ballard of the 147th, Gullett of the 19th, Clark of the 100th, Westbrook of the 163rd, a bill relating to pawnbrokers. House Bill 111 by Representative Hong of the 103rd, Gamble of the 15th, McDonald of the 26th, Wade of the 9th, Williamson of the 112th, and others, a bill relating to imposition rate computation exemptions and credits relative to income taxes. House Bill 112 by Representative McDonald of the 26th, Hong of the 103rd, Gamble of the 15th, Wade of the 9th, Powell of the 33rd, and others, a bill relating to income taxes. House Bill 113 by Representative McDonald of the 26th, Hong of the 103rd, Gamble of the 15th, Wade of the 9th, Powell of the 33rd, and others, a bill relating to state government. House Bill 114 by Representative McDonald of the 26th, Crow of the 118th, Hitchens of the 161st, Lumsden of the 12th, and Barrett of the 24th, a bill relating to safe operations of motor carriers, commercial motor vehicles, drivers, and safe transportation of hazardous materials. House Bill 115 by Representative Petrie of the 166th, Stevens of the 164th, Franklin of the 160th, Townsend of the 179th, Deloach of the 167th, and others, a bill relating to registration, operation, sale of watercraft. House Bill 116 by Representative McDonald of the 26th, Crow of the 118th, Hitchens of the 161st, Lumsden of the 12th, Barrett of the 24th, a bill relating to Motor Carrier Compliance Division of the Motor Department of Public Safety. House Bill 117 by Representative Petrie of the 166th, Williams of the 168th, Townsend of the 179th, Deloach of the 167th, Franklin of the 160th, a bill relating to food service establishments. House Bill 118 by Representative Townsend of the 179th, Mathiak of the 82nd, Hawkins of the 27th, Kelly of the 16th, Newton of the 127th, and others, a bill relating to early care and learning. House Resolution 40 by Representative Douglas of the 78th, Williams of the 148th, Holcomb of the 101st, Taylor of the 173rd, Hughley of the 141st, and others. Resolution creating the House Study Committee on Reinsurance for Essential Industries. House Resolution 41 by Representative Schofield of the 63rd, Mathiak of the 82nd, Jackson of the 68th, Scott of the 76th, Davis of the 87th, and others. A resolution urging Congress to reduce the waiting period for determination and approval of disability benefits for individuals living with lupus. House Resolution 42 by Representative Gamble of the 15th, Hong of the 103rd, McDonald of the 26th, Wade of the 9th, Blackman of the 146th, and others. Resolution ratifying Governor Brian P. Kemp's executive order suspending the collection of motor fuel and diesel fuel taxes. House Resolution 49 by Representative Sanchez of the 42nd, Cannon of the 58th, Ramon of the 97th, Bell of the 75th, Park of the 107th, and others. Resolution recognizing January 18, 2025 as Manuel Esteban Perez Terán Day and for other purposes through second readers.
All right, members, we're moving on to morning orders. Members will please take their seats and give the member in the well. I'm going to call Chairman Hilton first. Maybe not. Representative Vance Smith has a special announcement, so if you will give the gentleman will just stand at ease just for a moment. Members, we have a lot of friends in the gallery. Some of them have traveled from long distances to be here with us and to be recognized on this Tuesday morning. So if you'll give the member in the well your attention, I'm going to recognize Representative Vance Smith, and a lot of friends are going to talk to us about an important part of this state. Representative Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, we appreciate this few minutes that we can honor Kia. This is Kia Day at the Capitol. Each one of you have a replica of a Kia car on your desk. Be careful when you drive that around. It's mighty powerful, very luxurious, but we do appreciate y'all helping us recognize Kia. Appreciate the people that are standing up here with me, all good friends. And I just have to tell you, I can remember being at the Kia groundbreaking back when Governor Sonny Perdue was here, and boy, has time flown by. And since then, Kia has produced over 4.6 million cars at the facility at West Point, Georgia. They employ 3,000 individuals at their plant, not to count the reciprocal effect of all the industry that's in the area in Troup County and Harris County and surrounding counties. And so I'm honored to be the representative for that area, and I'm honored that my fellow representatives that cover part of Troup and in the area, we're just honored to have them here today. So if you would help us welcome Kia, if they would stand right up here in the gallery, and let's recognize Kia. It's an honor to work with y'all. We appreciate everything you do for the state of Georgia, the impact you have on our local community, and you're very, very involved. We appreciate each one of you. We appreciate Stuart Countess as the CEO, the president and CEO, and what he does. And thank you for helping the great state of Georgia be the #1 state to do business. Thank you.
Well said, Mr. Chairman. Kia, we appreciate y'all being here. Give Stuart my personal regards and regards of the House. Thank you for the contribution you're making, not only to West Point and Troup County, but to the entire state and to our country. Thank you. Representative Matt Reeves is recognized for a morning order. Representative Reeves, give the gentleman in the well your attention, please. We have some more friends in the gallery.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would invite all the Gwinnett members to come to the well, and anybody who grew up in Gwinnett or lived in Gwinnett or
members
has done business in Gwinnett. Today, I am proud to announce that it is Gwinnett Chamber Day here at the Capitol. We have a resolution, House Resolution 58, that honors the Gwinnett Chamber. They recently won a Chamber of the Year award. They have their chamber staff and chamber officers here, including, I believe, former chair was Lanier Levitt, a funeral director. I know we have funeral directors here. The current year's chair is Brad Carr. Next year's chair is Kim Hartsock. So we have great leadership, Nick Messino, Paul O., many other chamber leaders representing business and nonprofits and utilities in Gwinnett. They are celebrating their gala a week from Friday at Gas South Arena. But the Gwinnett delegation is proud to award this resolution to you. Gwinnett Chamber members, House, please let them know how excited you are they're here. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. It's a pleasure to have y'all all here. Thanks for being here. Gwinnett County is a big part of our state, and we appreciate everything the chambers all across Georgia do. So thank you for your contributions. Let's see, we have a group from, all right, representing Bryan County, Georgia, Pembroke and Richmond Hill. Let's see, we have Representatives Petrie, Stevens, Franklin, and Burchett. Burchett, how do you get into Bryan County? They've adopted you, I guess.
He pretends, Speaker.
He pretends. Give the gentleman in the well your attention, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Suspend just for a minute. This is important.
All up here. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, we have a resolution today, and we want to welcome our constituents from Bryan County, Georgia. Bryan County, I think y'all are in the gallery here, if y'all would stand over here. And Bryan County. The fastest growing county in Georgia over the last census. My favorite constituents, but don't tell my Chatham County folks coming tomorrow that I said that. But folks, what a beautiful county name for Jonathan Bryan, who, by the way, was a Savannaian patriot. And so thank you all for being here today. We're excited to see you later this evening.
Welcome to everyone from Bryan County. It's a long drive up here. We really appreciate y'all being here. Y'all are my neighbors, so we appreciate you very, very much. And a lot of good things happening in Bryan County, so keep up the good work. Thank y'all. Representative David Clark. Now I want y'all to pay special attention to this one. I want you to give the gentleman in the well your full and undivided attention. Representative Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. On behalf of House Bill 887, which aims to improve access to medically appropriate prosthetic and orthotic devices, I'd like to recognize supporters of the So Everybody Can Move initiative. I'd like to recognize a few special individuals who have joined us today. We have four-time Paralympian and world record holder Jared Wallace, UGA and Cleveland Brown wide receiver Mohamed Massaquoi, and 6-year-old future policymaker Elliot Barrett, and also Kennesaw State University students and patient advocates. They are here today asking for our support in passing House Bill 87 so that they can have access to the devices they need to live healthy, effective lives. Please help me welcome these special guests to the House chamber. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Clark, you have some real star power up there, but I think the brightest one is Elliot. Good to have y'all. It was good talking to you this morning. We look forward to working with you. Thank you, Representative. That completes our morning orders. Members, for planning purposes later today, I'm going to go ahead and remind you now, we'll do it again when we make announcements. We're going to have a special unveiling of a portrait honoring the Dean of the House, Calvin Smyrie, but we'll be doing that later this afternoon, and the Minority Leader will help me make an announcement a little bit later, remind everyone of that. But that's just a precursor to what we'll do later on today. Right now, we'll be pausing for a few minutes as we get ready for the state of the judiciary. We're going to pause. You can stand at ease, but stay close to your desk. I think the Senate is going to be on its way over in just a minute, and we'll get started with the state of the judiciary. So the House will be at ease for a few moments. House will come back to order. Members will please take your seats. Members, please take your seats. House will come back to order. Members, please take your seats and cease conversation. All members, please take your seats. We're about to move on to the further business of the day. Members, please take your seats. Cease conversation. Mr. Doorkeeper.
Mr. Speaker, the President Pro Tem, and the members of the Senate await entrance to the House chambers.
Mr. Doorkeeper, allow the President Pro Tem, and the members of the Senate to enter the House chamber, and the messenger will escort them to their designated seats. All right, well, all members, please find a seat. All members. I think we have plenty of chairs to accommodate everyone. So all members will please find a seat. All members, if you'll cease conversation, we'll welcome our justices to the chamber. All members, please find a seat. Mr. Doorkeeper.
Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Michael P. Boggs, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, and the Justices of the Supreme Court, along with the Honorable Amanda H. Messier, Chief Judge of the Court of Appeals, and the Judges of the Court of Appeals, await entrance to the House chambers.
Mr. Doorkeeper, please allow the Honorable Michael P. Boggs and the Justices of the Supreme Court, as well as the Honorable Amanda H. Mercier and the Judges of the Court of Appeals entrance to the House chamber, and the messenger will escort them to their designated seats. Okay, members of the House of Representatives and the Senate will come to order. All members, please take their seats. This joint session will come to order. Mr. Clerk, will you read a resolution?
House Resolution 5 by Representative Abstration to the 104th, a resolution calling a joint session of the House of Representatives and the Senate for the purposes of hearing a message from the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, inviting each other justice of the Supreme Court and each judge of the Court of Appeals to be present at the joint session and for other purposes.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. It's good to have everyone here this morning to hear some important message from the Chief Justice. We welcome our members of the judiciary. Thank you for being here, supporting the Chief Justice, and we thank you for the work that you do for all Georgians. We recognize a couple of people that are important to getting the work done for all Georgians. First, I want to recognize the gentleman on my left, the Lieutenant Governor, who's doing a great job, and we're looking forward to working with him and the Senate to get some awesome things done for the people of Georgia. Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones. A couple of other folks that are crucial to the working of this General Assembly. A dear friend, the President Pro Tem of the Senate, John Kennedy. Senator Kennedy. Thank you for your work, Senator. I appreciate your leadership. Now, this is a special day for a number of reasons, but even what makes it even more special is the birthday of the next person I'm going to introduce. The Speaker Pro Tem of this House, a dedicated public servant, a dear friend who's represented her district and the people of this state in a distinguished manner over the years in her service as a representative, but especially as Speaker Pro Tem. Happy birthday, Speaker Pro Tem Jan Jones. I knew you wanted that special recognition on your birthday. It's my great honor now to introduce the Chief Justice of the Georgia Supreme Court. Justice Boggs was elected to that position to serve as Chief Justice in 2022. Prior to that time, years of service to the people of Georgia in our judicial system. Chief Justice Boggs served as judge on the Court of Appeals of Georgia, as a Superior Court judge down in his hometown of Waycross, the Waycross Judicial Circuit. And most importantly, he was trained right here in this house as a member of this House of Representatives. He's a graduate of Mercer Law School and Georgia Southern University. There we go. Go Eagles, yes sir. And some really important things that Chief Justice Boggs has been involved in. He served as a member of Georgia's Special Counsel on Criminal Justice Reform and the Georgia Criminal Justice Reform Council. Meaningful work that he threw his time and effort into that work. Now he is currently a member of Governor Brian Kemp's of Georgia's Behavioral Health Reform and Innovation Commission and serves as chair of the Mental Health Courts and Corrections Subcommittee and the Familiar Forces Advisory Council. Among many other things he's doing, but one of his passions is mental health, and his work over the years does not go unnoticed. Thank you, Chief Justice. Chief Justice, for the important part, lives in Pierce County with his wife, Heather, who's been teaching kindergarten for 32 years. And she thought it was more important for her to be with her students today than be here. And I commend her for that. And I salute her for that. Thank you, Heather. Along with justice goes wisdom to administer justice. I know of no one in the judiciary that I've watched over the years does not simplify that virtue. Justice Boggs gets to the point. He gets it right for the people of Georgia, working with the other justices. You know, he has a passion for justice. He has a passion for his neighbor. And I think that's very much evident in his work in the judiciary and why he's recognized by his peers to serve in this very, very important position in our state. He's done all these things, all the while honoring and respecting his fellow man. It's my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce to you all and present to you the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Georgia, Chief Justice Michael P. Boggs.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, Lieutenant Governor Jones, Speaker Burns, President Pro Tem, and my friend John Kennedy. Speaker Pro Tem, happy birthday, Jan Jones. You'll excuse me for not singing. Members of the General Assembly, justices and judges who are here with us today, and my fellow Georgians. Thank you for the opportunity to address you today. Before I get started, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence, if you all will join me, for the Chief Judge of the Mountain Judicial Circuit, Rusty Smith, who many of you may have heard passed away late last night. Rusty was a personal friend and a wonderful colleague to so many of us, and I appreciate the Speaker giving me an opportunity for us to honor him in this way. So will you please join me in a moment of silence? Thank you. You may be seated. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family, both his personal family and his professional family. So thank you for that opportunity. I'm honored to represent the nearly 1,600 judges in Georgia who are committed to upholding our oaths of office, to administer justice without respect to person, and to do equal rights to the rich and the poor, and to faithfully and impartially discharge our duties agreeably to the laws of the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, so help us God. Adherence to this oath promotes the importance of the rule of law and an independent judiciary in our society, and along the way helps build public trust and confidence in our courts. The work to uphold this oath focuses, of course, primarily on deciding cases, the most important work that we do. But that work also extends to effort judges are engaged in across this state to improve the administration of justice. And many of these efforts enjoy your longstanding support, for which the judicial branch is eternally grateful. And I'll speak to some of those efforts momentarily, but first, I am proud to say that despite challenges posed by public health and weather tragedies, and even more serious external threats to our role as a co-equal and independent branch of Georgia's judiciary, our judiciary continues to make good on our promise to faithfully and impartially discharge our duties. And as a result, I'm proud to report that the state of Georgia's judiciary is strong. As public trust in the integrity of government is on a national decline, one bright spot is that public confidence in state courts seems to be more solid. A recent survey has demonstrated that more than half of Americans give state courts a positive job approval rating. And of course, this statistic is meaningful because more than 95% of all court cases nationwide are filed in our state courts. Part of this improved sentiment is, I think, due to the remarkable work Georgia's judges are doing to honor their oath. One way our state courts are leading is by remaining diligent in addressing challenges to our legal system. And this includes examining the impact of generative artificial intelligence. Courts across the world are dealing with this issue, and Georgia courts must be prepared. To this end, I have established a committee led by my colleague, Justice Andrew Pinson, and Court of Appeals Judge Elizabeth Gobeil to study the dangers and opportunities that AI presents for our courts. They will collaborate with a similar committee of the State Bar established by Bar President Ivy Cadle, and we expect a report from them by this summer. In addition, I talked to you last year about the shortage of court reporters across our state. For much of this year, the Judicial Council Standing Committee on Court Reporter Matters has met with key stakeholders to discuss this growing crisis. This shortage is felt nationwide and has only gotten worse since I last spoke to you. The consequences are very real because of delayed hearings in trial courts, delayed appeals to our appellate courts, and delayed closure for victims of crime. Now, the Judicial Council is coming to you this year with a balanced proposal that will give trial judges the option of having many, but not all, court proceedings taken down by a digital recording system. This proposal places no mandate on trial judges to use digital recording, but it does give them the much needed option in order to reduce the amount of time it takes to get necessary records. Court reporters, of course, remain a vital part of our court processes, and we believe this proposal strikes the right balance between protecting the integrity of our court proceedings and transcripts and addressing the very real problems caused from court reporter shortages. I especially want to thank Court of Appeals Judge Ben Land for his leadership on this issue. And of course, we urge your support so that we can keep the wheels of justice moving without unnecessary delay. Another recurring theme from last year, and a truly significant issue for Georgia courts and many of your constituents, is the problem of legal deserts. For the last 2 years, I've told you that there were 7 counties, all rural, with 0 licensed lawyers. Sadly, that number has not changed. That leaves more than 30,000 Georgians without access to legal representation in their home counties for what in many instances is likely the most pressing circumstance in their lives, matters like divorce and evictions and child support and child custody disputes and adoptions. All seemingly routine matters if you have an attorney working for you, but for those who do not, help is almost unattainable and the consequences can be life-altering. I'm committed to leading on this issue, and I'm proud to have other judicial system leaders join me as we examine potential solutions for narrowing our state's civil justice gap. I believe that Georgia should be a national thought leader on this issue, particularly as we've seen Texas, Arizona, and Washington State make great progress. To accomplish this, I created the Supreme Court Study Committee on Legal Regulatory Reform, led by my colleague, Justice Carla Wong McMillan, and Court of Appeals Judge Stephen Dillard. They will work in collaboration with the State Bar of Georgia, judges from various classes of court, and attorneys from diverse practice areas across the state to explore options and innovative opportunities to use the Supreme Court's constitutional authority to regulate the practice of law to bolster civil legal services for rural or low-income Georgians. Maybe some of the barriers of accessing justice are caused by or even made worse by the way our court regulates the practice of law. So our challenge, of course, is to do this without undermining the court's duty to protect the public and not otherwise diminish our state's high standards for legal practitioners in this state. We look forward to the recommendations of this committee, which we hope to receive later this year as we all seek to improve access to justice for Georgians. I want to also thank each of you in the legislative branch who have been great partners in many endeavors to improve our state's justice system. Each of you here today have been instrumental in supporting Judicial Council initiatives over the last several years that have been transformational for some of Georgia's most vulnerable citizens. Recently, you have approved Judicial Council funding requests for Georgia's Medical Legal Partnership Program, like the one in Ware County, my home county. This program provides on-site attorneys who assist low-income or senior residents and families with medically fragile children address their unique and critical legal needs. This ultimately saves lives and tax dollars. Your support of medical legal partnerships is just one example of how important your support is to the state's judicial system. Similarly, over the last several years, you have joined with the judiciary and nonprofit legal services providers like Atlanta Legal Aid and Georgia Legal Services in supporting kinship care programs. Those help secure temporary or permanent arrangements for children to be cared for by relatives or close family friends when their biological parents are unable or unwilling to do so. This program helps stabilize families. It lessens the trauma of separation and provides children with supportive services while also saving taxpayer funds. So medical legal partnerships and kinship care are but two of the many ways that you all support our courts and vulnerable Georgians, and I want to take this opportunity to personally thank all of you for this critical assistance. In addition to these collaborative initiatives, I'm pleased to report on a landmark initiative that holds the potential to fundamentally improve our justice system. With the support of Governor Kemp, Georgia judicial leaders are moving forward on a generationally transformative tool for collecting, using, and reporting real-time case information and data. This effort, a statewide case management system for our Georgia Superior and state courts, is critical to improving the work of our justice system. Currently, as you may know, trial court case management and data are siloed in 159 individual and disparate case management systems that lack common functionality, common definitional standards, and an ability to share information. This can mean that during sentencing, our judges do not have accurate data about defendants upon which to drive proper case disposition or even diversion. They may not know, for example, whether a defendant standing before them has a prior criminal history in another county, whether they have ongoing criminal matters in other jurisdictions, whether they've ever had prior civil mental health commitments, or even whether prior arrests and dispositions are accurately reflected in their criminal histories. I hope we can all agree that a judge trying to accurately fashion an appropriate sentence should not have to rely on the goodwill of a criminal defendant to volunteer that they are already on probation somewhere else in Georgia, or that they have a history of civil mental health commitments. And of course, bad, missing, inaccurate, and incomplete data available to our state's judges clearly has a real and frightening public safety implication for every Georgian. The governor has funded this project with federal ARPA funds, and we're currently working collaboratively with all judicial system partners to ensure that the system will serve stakeholder needs with an aim to have a functional system by the end of this year. I'd like to take this opportunity to personally thank the governor for his significant investment in this project, and in so doing, keeping at the forefront the improvements of Georgia courts and the safety of all Georgians. We hope that you share our interest in improved judicial system data and that you will support this project as needed. In addition to these statewide initiatives, trial courts on the local level are also making great progress in fulfilling their oath to the citizens of Georgia. A shining example is Cobb County's Veterans Accountability Treatment Court program, started in 2014 by the late Superior Court Judge Reuben Green, who unfortunately passed away several weeks ago. And while we mourn the loss of Judge Green, we lift up his legacy of judicial leadership through the creation of this program, which is designed to improve outcomes for veterans in our state's criminal justice system. This program, which is currently presided over by Judge Rob Leonard, is specifically tailored to address issues of post-traumatic stress disorder, substance abuse, and other mental health issues that are unique to our country's service members. And they do this through counseling and additional support services, including job training. As I'm sure Judge Leonard will tell you, the need for veterans courts is dire. 50% of veterans with PTSD in our country do not receive treatment, and there are over 181,000 veterans currently incarcerated in the United States. Of those, 81% had a substance use disorder prior to their incarceration, and a full 25% were identified as mentally ill. Veterans Accountability and Treatment Court's missions is to work to change these dire statistics while also increasing public safety by reducing recidivism, and they are succeeding. In Cobb, 64 veterans have successfully graduated from this 18-month program, and the average recidivism rate is an astounding 7%. I think we could all agree that these veterans have faithfully served our country, and we owe it to them to see that our justice system addresses their service needs appropriately. While all of these various state, legislative supported, and of course local initiatives are critical to the health and future of our justice system, it is important to note that they are not the core responsibility of Georgia's courts. That responsibility is to decide cases and to do so swiftly and fairly and consistently with the law. And on that front, Georgia courts are as strong as ever, despite significant threats to this core mission. For the last several years, we've all noticed an alarming increase in attacks on our courts, both attacks on decisions and even physical attacks on judges. It seems that our entire system of justice, a bedrock of our democracy, is under attack. These threats take many forms, from threats posed by disinformation and actual violence, to threats posed by citizens and even at times elected officials publicly stating their intention to not honor and abide by lawful court decisions. We know that you too have experienced physical threats, as we all can recall the instances of swatting that plagued elected officials less than a year ago. These threats simply cannot be tolerated as the new norm in our society, as they threaten the very core of our democracy. And make no mistake, threats against judges are increasing. The United States Marshal Service, which protects our nation's federal courts, reports that threats against federal judges have tripled over the last decade, up from 179 instances of credible threats in 2019 to 457 in 2023. Of course, we have no agency tracking threats against state judges in Georgia. However, increasing anecdotal evidence does demonstrate that we're continuing to see a precipitous increase in threats against judges, clerks, and court staff. Just last month, bomb threats forced the closure of the Muskogee County Courthouse. Now more than ever, the safety of our state's 1,600 judges, as well as our court personnel and the general public who still enter our hallways and courtrooms each day, has become a pronounced concern. It is crucial that our courtrooms are secure and those who work within them can perform their duties without fear. This means not only upgrading our physical security measures, but also implementing comprehensive training so that security situations can be handled more effectively, or better yet, prevented altogether. Last summer, we created and implemented training sessions that may be used by judges and you, lawmakers, across our state to better understand and protect themselves and their families at home or out in their communities. I'd like to take an opportunity to thank my colleague, Justice Sean Ellen LaGrua, and the committee that she chairs for their ongoing work in that regard. I would also like to thank the Georgia Public Safety Training Center and state law enforcement leaders for making all of this possible. I also am very appreciative for the cooperation and support we've received from you all in the legislature in working with this standing committee to add another layer of vital protection through the passage of Senate Bill 508 last session. Thank you especially to the bill sponsors, Senator Clint Dixon and Representative Matt Reeves. We greatly appreciate you and thank you all for taking the safety concerns of our judges seriously. Your investment in judicial security is fundamental to maintaining public confidence in our system of government as a whole. And we look forward to continued collaboration on our recommendations this session to further refine our approach. In addition to its security, an independent judiciary must be able to attract and retain qualified judges. To that end, we will again be pursuing a plan previously supported by the Judicial Council to improve judicial compensation in Georgia. I'd like to also thank last year's sponsors, Representative Rob Leverett and Senator Bo Hatchett. This year, that same proposal is again sponsored by Representative Leverett, but this year in two separate bills. House Bill 85 will address Superior Court judges, and House Bill 86 for statewide judges. We again ask for your continued support of this very important legislation. Equally as concerning as the attacks and threats of physical violence on our judges are the purposeful and widespread efforts to transform the courts into partisan political actors. It's hard to overstate the danger that such efforts pose to the rule of law if left unchecked. As you know, the rule of law is the simple but powerful idea that all of us, even judges, are bound by the laws that we the people have enacted through our elected representatives. That simple idea is the bedrock of our entire democratic structure, and we cannot work without an independent judiciary that has the public's trust and confidence. One way our judiciary is making good on upholding our oaths and doing what we can to further instill public trust in our institution is by supporting legislation that you will see this year to end partisan elections for the remaining few probate and magistrate court judges who are not yet nonpartisan. With the full support of those local courts, we're coming to you again this year asking for your support and assistance in rectifying that issue. We all recognize that the moment judges stop interpreting and applying the law as it is written and start making decisions based on our own policy preferences, or worse yet, when the public starts believing that's what judges are doing or should be doing, our entire democratic system of government becomes irreparably damaged. Simply put, an independent judiciary with respect for the rule of law keeps us from becoming a society in which the person with the biggest stick is in charge. Now, I'm not saying that no one should ever criticize decisions. Legitimate discussions and disagreements about legal analysis and interpretation are and always have been a normal and expected exercise of the freedom of speech that we all hold so dear. But what we can't do as a society is undermine the integrity and legitimacy of the institution every time a court issues a decision that is not aligned with our own partisan policy preferences. That is what we think the law should be. Judges ought not be judged on whether you like the outcomes of any particular decisions. Instead, they should be judged on whether they have upheld their oaths to faithfully and impartially discharge our duties agreeably to the laws and the Constitution of this state and the Constitution of the United States, so help us God. As the late Justice Antonin Scalia put it, if you're going to be a good and faithful judge, you have to resign yourself to the fact that you're not always going to like the conclusions you reach. If you like them all the time, you're probably doing something wrong. So I'm honored to lead a judiciary that upholds this oath by faithfully interpreting and applying the law that we the people have put into effect, even if we may not like the outcome in every case. So please help us deliver this simple message. Our state courts are made up of impartial arbiters of the law who have all taken sacred oaths to uphold the Constitution and to defend the rule of law. And our limited role as judges is to interpret the law as it is written and to apply it to resolve disputes between the parties before us, not to serve as a super legislature. As long as the people of Georgia understand and trust that our judiciary is faithfully carrying out that limited role, the rule of law will remain secure. In closing, I want to express the entire judiciary's sincere gratitude for your willingness to provide assistance to us so that we may continue to improve the fair and swift administration of justice and uphold our sacred oaths. Thank you all for the opportunity to be with you today. May God continue to bless us in this great state of Georgia. Thank you. Thank you. Brother, appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Chief Justice, always very powerful and to the point. We are looking forward to working with you in the courts to ensure that we protect the rights of all Georgians. And as we've always had a great relationship, we look forward to that continuing. We certainly look forward to the conversation. Thank you so much for your remarks today. Welcome again to the House. We appreciate all the work that you all do every day for the people of Georgia. So thank you. You're welcome here at any time. Thank you all. At this time, I'll ask the doorkeeper to escort the Supreme Court justices and the judges of the Court of Appeals from the chamber. Mr. Majority Leader, you're recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that this joint session now be dissolved.
The Majority Leader of this House has moved that this joint session be dissolved. All those in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed will say no. Hey, it's very clear. The ayes have it, and this joint session is hereby dissolved. Thank you all. Thank you to the Lieutenant Governor of the Senate for being here. Okay, if all members will please return to their seats. We have a little more business. We have to tend to afternoon orders. Have some privileged resolutions, don't we, Mr. Clerk? If all members will return to their seats. I think a couple of senators are hanging around. They'd like to be House members. Again, look at my sign outside. All members, please take your seats. All members. All members will please take their seats. Cease your conversation. We have clerk's going to read the caption to a group of privileged resolutions. Mr. Clerk.
Honoring the life and memory of Ann Elizabeth Harris.
Mr. Clerk, will you suspend? Mr. Clerk, do you mind reading that one again?
Honoring the life and memory of Ann Elizabeth Harris Stoddard. honoring the life and memory of Dr. Evelyn Gibson Lowry, honoring the life and memory of Philip Benson Ham Sr., recognizing and commending Joey Gibbs, commending the One Georgia Authority, recognizing and commending Vanessa C. Harrison upon her retirement, congratulating the Citizens Christian Academy girls softball team for winning the 2024 GIAA Class A State Softball Championship, recognizing February 2nd, 2025 as Georgia Arts Day in Georgia, commending community health workers, commending Creekside High School Career and Technical Student Organizations, and recognizing February 5th, 2025 as Career and Technical Student Organization Day at the State Capitol, recognizing March 2025 as Blood Clot Awareness Month in the state of Georgia, commending several churches for their work with Project Elevation, commending the Georgia FFA Association, and recognizing February 18, 2025 as FFA Day at the State Capitol, recognizing and commending the Greater North Fulton Chamber of Commerce, recognizing February 6, 2025 as Keep Georgia Beautiful Day at the State Capitol, recognizing May 15, 2025 as United Nations International Day for Families in the state of Georgia, commending the Authors Expert Academy for its contributions on World Book and Copyright Day, and recognizing April 23rd, 2025 as Authors Expert Academy Day in Georgia, recognizing October 17, 2025 as International Day for the Eradication of Poverty in the state of Georgia, recognizing May 14, 2025 as International Tea at the United Nations Day in the state of Georgia, and commending the work of Trinity Girls Network, recognizing April 2025 as Financial Literary Month, and commending Dr. Jacqueline Mohair, Dr. Sonia Ham, and the Ham Associates Financial Group, recognizing International Literacy Day, honoring the contributions of Trinity International University ambassadors, and celebrating Dr. Jacqueline Mohair, congratulating the Georgia Electric Membership Corporation on 85 years of public service, and recognizing February 11, 2025 as Georgia Farm Bureau Federation Day at the State Capitol. And for other purposes, that completes the reading of the privileged resolutions.
Is there any objection to adopting the privileged resolutions? Chair hears none, and the resolutions are adopted. We'll move on to afternoon orders now. Representative Carter. Representative Doreen Carter is recognized for an afternoon order. Representative Smith, you'll be next. Representative Carter.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. As you all know, cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer of women, and since 2004, the American Heart Association signature women's initiative, Go Red for Women, has addressed the awareness and clinical care gaps in women's greatest health threat, which is cardiovascular disease. And every year here at the Georgia Legislature, we come together to bring awareness. So next Thursday, which is February the 6th, we're asking our legislators to wear red, and we will have the American Heart Association representatives here with us. And for the community and those of you legislators that will still be in town on Friday, we are asking you to join us for lunch here at the Capitol at 12 o'clock, where we will have the official Go Red for Lunch events. And I want to leave you all with this as I'm getting my little technology in place. Some of you know that I've survived a heart attack and a stroke. But one of the things that I wasn't clear about were the signs. And so we know sometimes with women, those signs are a little different, but I want to share this with you. If you have any of these signs, call 911 and get to the hospital as soon as you can. 1, you have sudden numbness or weakness of your face, arm, or leg, especially on one side of your body. Sudden confusion, trouble speaking or understanding. Y'all, I was driving my car on the phone with somebody, and my speech was blurred, was kind of messed up. And this friend of mine was like, "Your voice is sounding weird." I said, "It does, doesn't it?" And I just kept driving, was headed to the house, but y'all, I was having a stroke. So don't be like me. There's trouble, sudden trouble seeing, a blurred vision in one or both of your eyes, sudden trouble walking, dizziness, loss of balance and coordination. Those are some of the signs if you're having a stroke, signs if you're having a heart attack. If you have uncomfortable pressure, squeezing, fullness of pain, I know sometimes we think, is indigestion, but if it started lasting too long, guys, go get some help. Again, pain or discomfort in one of your arms, shortness of breath, and without chest comfort. And one of the signs that even my cardiologist we had to chat about, but cold sweat and nausea. If you have any of those, please, please, please call 911 because we need all of you, right? So next Thursday we wearing red, right? And then Friday you guys will come back to the Capitol, have lunch with us with red. So if you don't have 2 red outfits, go shopping this weekend. Thank you. I yield the well.
That's Thursday a week, right? Thursday a week, wear red. Thank you, Representative Carter. Thanks for reminding us. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you to give the lady that's coming to the well and her friends your attention, and please stand. Representative Lynn Smith and several folks are coming to the well to honor a life. Representative Smith.
Good morning, everyone. And as happens to so many of us, it's a very sad occasion that I and the Coweta County delegation, Representative David Jenkins, Josh Bonner, Robert Dawson, Lydia Glaze, and in spirit, Josh Bonner, as well as the chair of our Public Safety Committee, Clint Crow. This is such an unusual story, and pain that this family is feeling because it was so unexpected. The title in our newspaper was, "There is just no sense in it." And briefly, Coweta County, Coweta County Fire Battalion Chief Bert Coughlin was tragically killed last Sunday evening in Alabama while assisting a stranded motorist. This is a Good Samaritan. With no cell service in the area, Coughlin and the driver decided to walk to a nearby home to seek assistance. When the 2 men approached the driveway, the homeowner came out shooting with no warning. Both Coughlin and the driver were struck. Coughlin collapsed and died. The other person also was injured. Again, there's no sense in this. But that's where prayer comes in. And so today the funeral starts at 1 o'clock with a procession and then the service. So let's lift up our prayers for my community and this family. And I think a couple of people who knew Coughlin want to say something.
Good afternoon. We stand here today to honor a great man. Chief Bart Coughlin lived the life of the ethos of service above self. The night he was tragically killed, he wasn't dispatched, he wasn't in uniform, he wasn't on the payroll. He just saw somebody who needed help, and that's all he needed, and he provided help. He was a servant leader, and it can't be overstated how great the impact on the Coweta County Sheriff's Department is. He mentored those young firefighters every day to follow in his footsteps and his example, and that's, you just can't replace that. I had an honor to work with him. Our air ambulance base down there is flying in their service this afternoon to render his honor and honors for him in the funeral. So I pray for his family, his brothers and sisters at the Coweta County Sheriff's Department, all those young firefighters that depended so much on his leadership. And I conclude my remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If y'all just have a moment of silence for us. Thank you. Amen.
Thank y'all. Our prayers for the delegation who knew the chief, for the family, for the community, and our sincere condolences to the family, and prayers for them in these tough days and weeks and months and years to come. What a tragic loss. Thank you, members. That completes our afternoon orders. We have several announcements. Minority Leader, are you ready? I'd like for folks, make sure everyone here, members, if you will give your attention to the lady in the well, just hold just a minute. Most important announcement. Representative Hughley is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, this afternoon at 4 o'clock, we're going to have a ceremony to unveil a portrait of our former colleague, Calvin Smyrie. Calvin Smyrie served this House for more than 47 years. And he's only going to be the 7th African American to have a portrait in this entire Capitol. So I wish that you would come and help us honor him today. He's so excited about it. It's going to occur right here in the chamber, so you can come and go to your regular seat. But let's show him love this afternoon, and I'm excited for the opportunity that he's been given. So thank you, Mr. Speaker, and everybody. We'll see you at 4.
It's going to be great to welcome the Dean back. We're looking forward to it. Everyone join us if you can. Representative Jasmine Clark is recognized for an announcement. Representative Clark. Give the lady your attention, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today at 1 o'clock, the Gwinnett delegation will meet in room 502 in CLOB for a delegation meeting. As well, the Gwinnett Chamber is still here, and they will provide lunch downstairs, I think in 122. They're here now for those in the Gwinnett delegation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative. Chairman Saines is recognized for an announcement. Excuse me.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Right before that delegation in the same room, Coverdale 502, the future caucus will be meeting, and you're automatically a member if you're under 45, and there's no ID check. So if there's no ID check, so every lady in this chamber, I believe, would qualify based on looks. So please come by for lunch.
You're certainly smarter than you look. Just tell you, that was pretty good. I like that. Very good, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Gunther, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Judiciary Committee will have a meeting this afternoon at 1 o'clock. I expect it to be relatively quick. We will adopt our rules of operation and have 2 bills to cover that we've seen before. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Brad Thomas, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to remind everybody that we're going to have the Legislative AI Workshop today. It'll be in CLOB, room 515. A couple topics will be artificial intelligence impact on energy infrastructure, manufacturing, and education. So all big topics for our future. Thank you. Look forward to seeing you there. Yield well.
Great news. Get to work. Representative Karen Bennett is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to remind all women, that today is our Women Legislative Caucus meeting in room 510 in the CLOB. All women are invited upon adjournment. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Bennett. Chairman Dickey. Representative Dickey is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. All members of the Agricultural and Consumer Affairs Committee, we have our first meeting in the morning, 8 o'clock, 606 CLOB. Hope you can make it. Thank you.
Chairman Parsons, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Speaker. Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications will meet at 3 o'clock. We're not in the normal room. We'll be in room 406 of the LOB, or I should say the Coverdale Legislative Office Building. 3 o'clock, it's an organizational meeting, shouldn't take long. I know that there's a joint Ways and Means meeting at 3:30, so we want to try to get in there, and we will get in there and get out. But our meeting's at 3, organizational meeting at in the LOB 406. Thank you.
Representative Sharon Cooper. Chairlady Cooper is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mayor, Mr. Speaker. Okay, members of the Public and Community Health Committee, we will be meeting this afternoon at 2 o'clock in 606 of the LOB. So we have a bill and a couple of presentations, so I hope to see everybody there. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
2 o'clock. Representative Inga Willis, recognized for an announcement. Give the lady your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Atlanta delegation will have a very brief, and I promise brief, meeting today at 1 p.m. CLOB 514. I need you, and so I will see you there. Thank you.
1 o'clock, 514, right? Okay, give the gentleman that's coming to the well your attention. He has a special group we need to recognize, members. Representative Scott Hilton is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to recognize the brightest third graders here in the state of Georgia. If you would join me, there they are, right up there from Mount Pisgah Christian School in Johns Creek. Give them a hearty welcome there. Also, friendly reminder, the Intuitive Surgical Truck outside. Kids, maybe not for you guys, but if you guys want to do surgery on the truck, go out there and check it out. Kids, go check it out too. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That concludes our announcements. I want to commend all of you third graders up there. Y'all been so good and waited patiently till the representative recognized you, so we're glad to have y'all in the house. Y'all will be here serving one day. Awesome. Give them another round of applause. That concludes our work for the day. The majority leader of this House is recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that this House stand adjourned until 10 a.m. on Wednesday, January 29th, 2025.
On the motion of the majority leader illustration, this House stand adjourned until 10 a.m. Wednesday, January the 29th, 2025. All those in favor will say aye. Those opposed will say no. It was close, but the ayes clearly have it. This House stands adjourned. Thank you for your attention today during the State of the Judiciary.